Oh, hey there. Come on in. We're just about to start. Welcome to My Wife, the Dietitian, a fun weekly podcast about nutrition and healthy lifestyle. I'm Rob, and together with my wife, Sandra, we invite you to join us on this informative and entertaining journey through the complex world of healthy eating.
Join us each week as we strive to help you with transforming your overall health and relationship with food through up-to-date, evidence-based nutrition information. Are you fed up with yo-yo dieting? Does the idea of a weight loss medication like Ozempic seem like the way to lose those stubborn pounds? Are you wondering about the pros and cons of weight loss medications? Tune in today as we discuss some of these considerations and more with intuitive eating dietitian Rhonda Krick.
Enjoying the show? You can help others find it and enjoy it too by giving us a 5-star rating or review. If you feel like reaching out to us with a question or comment, you can send us an email at mywifetherd@gmail.com. And don't forget to visit our website at mywifethedietitian.com, as well as our social media pages. We're on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. Enjoy the show. Welcome to My Wife, the Dietitian. Hello, Sandra.
Hello, Rob.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing well.
Good. We have a special guest today.
Special.
Yes, because this is an interesting topic that comes up quite often with clients, and people see it all over the social media about weight loss medications.
Oh, and it's that thing that everyone's taking now.
Ozempic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Maybe not. We'll find out.
Yeah. Well, with Rhonda, she's a non-diet intuitive eating dietitian and has some clients on the weight loss medication, the various ones. And actually, we're going to talk to her about what they are, what they're good for, some side effects, and if you can take these while practicing intuitive eating is a really interesting concept.
Yeah, sounds pretty comprehensive.
Yeah, and we're in this diet-obsessed culture, so it's good to talk about these issues.
Absolutely.
I love her tagline on her website, rhondakricknutrition.com. Forget diets, find freedom with food, peace with your body, and joy in your life.
Yeah, I love it. Yeah. Well, I'm looking forward to hearing what she has to say. So, stay with us. We'll be right back with Rhonda.
Well, today we have Rhonda Krick from Rhonda Krick Nutrition, and I'm so excited to welcome you to the show today, Rhonda. And if you could tell the listeners a little bit about who you help in your work and what you do.
Yeah, I'd be happy to. Thanks so much for having me here. I'm really excited to talk with you guys. So I'm a registered dietitian, nutritionist, and also a certified intuitive eating counselor and a certified body image coach. And I've been a dietitian for over 25 years. I work in my own virtual private practice in which I help people with their relationship with food and body using a non-diet, weight-inclusive approach. So yeah, that's what I help people with.
That is I love that because it's unique. You don't hear that much. I mean, I feel like there's a lot of coaches out there, but for a dietitian to blend the intuitive eating and body image with, helping people through their relationship with food, it's wonderful. And the reason why I reached out was I saw a great article on your website, and the website is rhondakrick.com. So we're going to have your information in the show notes today. But the one article that really stood out to me, because it's something that a lot of clients ask me about, and I love having an expert opinion on this. It was called Navigate Weight Loss Meds with an Intuitive Eating Dietitian. And that just sparked my curiosity because, there's so many questions about Ozempic and other GLP-1 medications out there. So I'm so excited to talk about that with you today.
Yeah, thank you so much. I'm happy to talk about it.
Wonderful. Okay. So with regards to, I mentioned the kind of most popular one that we see trending a lot, Ozempic, but what are some other weight loss medications on the market that are kind of trending now?
The ones that I hear, and I'm sure other people have heard a lot besides Ozempic, are Wegovy, Zepbound, Mounjaro, and then maybe less common ones like Trulicity and Saxenda.
Okay. They've got some kind of fun, sexy names probably to get some brand awareness and everything.
Totally. I was thinking that too.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so interesting. So yeah, this is kind of I feel like it's not a whole new world because there's always been bariatric surgery. There's been other ways in the past that people try to control their eating. But in terms of these weight loss medications, like the GLP-1 class, like the Ozempic and the ones that you mentioned, what do they do to the appetite and someone's craving? And actually just side effects and results that you've seen in clients that you're helping?
Yeah, no, that's such a great question. So I think it's helpful to know that, well, first of all, I want to just clarify for you and your listeners that I'm not an expert in this. I'm still in my learning stages as well and trying to navigate this as well. So I want to make that clear. I do not call myself an expert in this particular area, but I'm trying to learn, and I think it's good to have these conversations.
Yes.
Rhonda, you probably know a whole lot more than me, though, and I think I represent a whole lot of people out there. So we're still going to call you on the big scheme of things. You're an expert in our mind.
Okay.
There you go.
Thank you. But I'm always open to learning. But yeah, so the GLP-1 medication is actually a medication that mimics the effects of a naturally occurring hormone that we have in our body called GLP-1. And so what this does is, well, first of all, it's secreted from our gut, and it causes us to reduce appetite, as you mentioned. It also slows down our digestive tract. So the food is moving more slowly through our digestive system. And then it also causes us to secrete more insulin, which can help regulate blood sugar. So those are the sort of effects of how these medications work.
Okay. So I guess the effects kind of, when you mentioned what's happening in the body for people, this is probably the reason why when I see clients that are on these, like Ozempic, for instance, I see some side effects that include nausea and vomiting. That's actually something recently a client was struggling with when she was trying to manage her weight and using weight loss medications. What are some other possible side effects and things that you see results in your clients?
Yeah, I would say the appetite suppression is the biggest one that I see, where people don't feel hungry sometimes at all, or their appetite is just not as strong as it used to be. The nausea, like you mentioned, some people experience vomiting, constipation due to like I said, the kind of slowing of the digestive tract, maybe diarrhea. Just so you know, I don't have a lot of clients on this. So, but like I said, the appetite suppression is the biggest one that I've seen in the people that I do work with who are on this medication.
Okay.
And is that how they're losing weight? Is that the design of this medication? Is that they suppress the appetite to the point where people don't eat?
Absolutely. That's correct.
Yeah, it's kind of odd, isn't it? I mean, how do you get your nutrition if you're not eating? It reminds me of back in the 70s, well, it's still, I think, people smoke cigarettes because it suppresses their appetite so that they don't gain weight, right? Or they don't stop smoking because they don't want to gain weight. It's an interesting method.
Yeah. So exactly. And then when they start smoking again or take the medication or stop taking the medication, then, I think we're seeing, or people see that they gain the weight back.
Yeah. Yeah. And I guess part of this is I would think that when people are using these weight loss medications and whoever's prescribing them, it's probably like a tool in the toolbox, right? Like it's one of other things that the client can try. That's what I've seen anyways. And I think it's a matter of balancing that, using a medication compared to, doing the lifestyle changes. Cause, a lot of people have tried everything under the sun and they just can't gain any traction, especially if they're dealing with like a secondary chronic disease, maybe diabetes or just metabolic syndrome. And, they need to do something to control their appetite. Like if they're feeling that they've been, out of control in that regard. So I imagine that there are definitely indications for it, but I'm just wondering because it just seems to be trending so much. And I mean, you're an intuitive eating dietitian and you do coaching like body image coaching. So like from a non-diet intuitive eating dietitian's perspective, what's your advice with regards to some of the approaches with the weight loss medications that are out there?
Yeah, it's a tricky situation, I would say, because can be really challenging for people who have either been on the intuitive eating path or body positive space, right? To be confronted with these like messages around the GLP-1 medications. So, like I said, I'm trying to navigate this myself. And where I am right now with it is that I'm really trying not to be black or white about how I approach this with clients. Like, I think at first my thinking was, oh no, this is like another weight loss drug. And we've seen in the past how, weight loss drugs are not really effective in the long run, similar to diets. But more recently, I feel like I've been trying to like open my mind to how can I support people who really need to take these medications, either for, like you said, diabetes or some other health concern, or even just helping people to navigate making the choice whether they like should or want to start taking these medications.
Oh, totally. Like, I mean, that's part of it, is like, I've had clients that are already on them and they're just trying another approach, like with, having some coaching around nutrition and diet and meal plans and that kind of thing. I've also had other clients where they're basically just saying, my doctor really is asking me to start this and I really, really resist. I do not want to do this. And so I feel like it's client-centered care is so critical in the whole conversation. And like what's going on for the client? What do they want? What are their goals for their health and nutrition? And that's all part of it too. And I'm glad to hear that you're open, but at the same time, it's like you said, it's a tricky thing to navigate. It really is, because I think from what I hear, some people are on it for maybe their lifetime. Is that right?
I think it can be intended to, like, especially if you have diabetes, that it is believed to be kind of a lifetime medication. But remember, as far as I'm aware, there's not a lot of research on these medications. So like, I know for most of them, we don't have research that goes beyond 2 years.
Right. One other thing I was wondering, so if someone is doing like intuitive eating, or they're trying to listen to their hunger and fullness cues and trying to savor their meals and just enjoy the moment while they're eating, how can that fit in with the GLP-1 medication or the weight loss medication? Like, how does that work? And do you help navigate that with your clients?
Well, I think that, what I've seen in some of the people and what I've heard from some of the people that take these medications is that they do become more sensitive to their hunger, fullness cues. I mean, I think appetite suppression is one aspect of it, but then some people actually find that they can be more aware, more attuned to their eating. Was that your question? Sorry.
Oh yeah, no, that's good. I'm just wondering about like when they're looking at, or they're trying to feel their hunger and fullness cues. Like we do this, we did an episode on the hunger scale, and how you can feel like absolutely starving, like on a scale of 1 to 10, you might be a 1, like you're just ready to eat your arm off. You're so hungry. Yeah. And then the fullness scale, where you've had your turkey dinner and you're just so full, you're sitting on the couch and you're like, I'm not eating for a week, that kind of thing. So when you're taking a medication that affects your appetite and affects your eating, I'm just wondering, how that all fits in. Like, do people that you see, are they more kind of eating in that middle zone where it's like they're not overeating, or, go long periods without eating? Or how does that, how are you seeing that play out?
Yeah, I think the people that I'm seeing, again, which is not that many, but they do lose their appetite where they don't want to eat at all. So there's like no hunger cues. And even so they have a really hard time tuning in to like their hunger and fullness. So in those situations, what I've done is really help people to just get on like more of an external kind of eating plan, like kind of maybe more time-based, so that they're able to meet their nutritional needs. Because that's a really important aspect, and something that I'm realizing more and more with clients that I work with, and just what I'm hearing from other colleagues, is that, malnutrition is, or I should say the risk of malnutrition is really high in these patients who are taking these GLP-1s because of this, appetite suppression. So, I think as a dietitian, I really want to support my clients to make sure they're getting their needs met, their nutritional needs, so that they don't develop any deficiencies or any, side effects from malnutrition. So I think, to answer your question, I think it's, at least in my experience, I think it's more common that people have low appetite or no appetite versus kind of that middle, like you're describing, like that middle ground of an appetite. But I mean, that may also be the case too. I just haven't seen that.
Rhonda, are there people that are like, this is a prescription, I presume, that you're getting from a doctor, and it's amazing what you're doing, helping people navigate, the issues and the symptoms that they're experiencing with this. But I'm guessing there's probably people who are trying to do this alone. Do you know what I mean? And trying to figure all this out and navigate it. And is that sort of the case, do you think?
Absolutely. Yeah, no, that's a good question and good point. I mean, I think lots of people out there don't have the support of a dietitian. I wish that wasn't true, but I think that unfortunately that's not happening. So yeah, it's hard. Yeah. So I think more people than not are probably navigating this on their own.
Yeah. And I'm guessing we've mentioned this many times through various episodes we've had, but people gauge the success of their diet or whatever program they're on by what the scale says. It's like, oh, I'm losing weight, it must be working, but they're not looking at all the other, negative things that are happening to their health in the process. And I can just imagine with this and the other weight loss meds that, if you're suppressing your appetite, obviously you're not getting nutrition, you're losing weight, muscle, I presume you're losing as well through the process. But the scale says you're succeeding. So it's kind of misleading, right? And so it leaves you a bit confused as to where you stand.
Absolutely.
Or how you stand too.
Yeah, absolutely. It just makes me think of like, I think we're all programmed to think that weight equals health, right? So if the scale is going down, this must mean that I'm healthy, according to that kind of thinking. Mm-hmm. I use a different approach in my practice. I use more of a weight inclusive approach, a health at every size approach, meaning that, we look at other factors that indicate health besides weight, like specifically behaviors or lab markers or things like that, that might indicate that somebody is healthy or not. And that also is very individual as well, like what health looks like. Yeah.
for sure.
Love it. Yeah. No, that's amazing. And I also practice health at every size and have done groups on that. And just that the scale is not an indicator of our health. It can be a tool in the toolbox again, but it's almost better to, look at how your clothes are fitting and, as you're working out more and watching your eating, and, enjoyment of food is so important. And I love that you had a piece of that, like making peace with food, like that is a big part of it, because I feel like there's so much out there about like, oh, I've got these cravings and I need to binge. And, like, it's almost like we have no control over our behavior. And it's like, but I don't know. I just feel like if people were a little bit more gentle on themselves and gave themselves some grace, that they wouldn't have to take such drastic measures.
Mm-hmm.
But I guess, as I mentioned earlier, if it's a tool in the toolbox, and it's helping someone, that's okay. It's useful in that regard. We also, bariatric surgery is another aspect that we actually did an episode 58 with Kim Tirapelli, dietitian who has active bariatric nutrition is her practice. And it's interesting. She helps people that are post bariatric surgery and helping them to make peace with food and also make sure they're not becoming malnourished. Because I think at the end of the day, as dietitians, like, I am all about nutrition and keeping someone's nutritional status, optimal. And so the thing with the scale is a lot of times when people are using that as their measurement for health, they could be becoming deficient. Mm-hmm. And, as you mentioned too, Rob, you mentioned that muscle, like lean muscle, is probably something that a lot of clients that are taking GLP-1 medications, they're probably losing muscle if they're not including weight-bearing exercises and, ways to maintain their lean muscle, because I think that is, that's where you lose muscle and you're going to lose weight, but that's not the kind of weight we want to lose. Is that right, Rhonda?
Absolutely. Yes, I totally agree. Yeah, people, especially if you're not taking in enough calories, then your body's going to use your muscle mass as energy. And yeah, that can be extremely harmful and not healthy, right? Which is the opposite of what I think people who are on these medications are pursuing, right?
Yeah, it seems like you would want to, like, if your goal is to lose weight, it's a combination of exercise and nutrition, right? And if you're just taking a pill to kind of take care of the food side of things and you're not exercising, then yeah, you're going to be losing a lot of muscle, I would think. And and then that's a long journey back from, where you end up, not healthy, not strong, and having to totally change your lifestyle to get back to a healthy place again.
Yeah, absolutely. I feel like a lot of times people do want the quick fix because, it sounds sexy. These Ozempic and, some of the ways that can help with controlling your appetite. Like if you feel like you have no control and that you're basically just, you have an addiction to sugar or you have an addiction to food. I think there's a lot of language out there on social media around binge eating and just, feeling like a slave to different food. And I just think I love your approach where you're actually helping people with intuitive eating and like not looking at the scale to indicate your health as much as like, what does the lab work say? And what are your behaviors? Like, are you skipping meals? Are you eating kind of regularly? Are you getting your nutrition? Like these are all really key ingredients to kind of long-term health, because I think that's part of it too, is part of my mission, because I do work partly in long-term care, and I do see the ramifications of a lifetime of dieting in women. And I just see like so many more women these days than when I started like 25 years ago. People are living longer, but also a lot of women end up living longer, but with poor quality of life and possibly dementia or other chronic diseases like osteoporosis and hip fractures and, you know, all of these things that are happening at the end of life. And I feel like this is the time, like in our, you know, 30s, 40s, 50s, it's really important to try to make peace with food and try to be gentle on yourself, but also get the nutrition, like the, you know, macronutrients, the vitamins, the minerals, you know, all these things that we need. It's so important that we eat, you know, and to like be on a medication that basically says, okay, this is going to help my appetite. I'm not going to be hungry and I'm not going to eat. You know, like, how do you get your nutrition? You know, how are people supposed to, you know, keep healthy if they're not eating the food, which is like fuel for their muscles and fuel for their energy and fuel for their brain? You know, it's just, it's just such a, we have a uphill battle, I think, Rhonda, ahead of us.
Yes, I agree. Oh my gosh, absolutely. Yeah, no, it's so sad that we've, you know, demonized food so much, right? To the point where it's like, you're like praised if you don't eat, but
yes, exactly.
Is there a certain demographic that you guys are seeing with these kind of weight loss meds?
I would say, I mean, the people I've come in contact with, most of them actually have diabetes. So in that case, you know, obviously that's an approved medication. These are approved medications for diabetes.
Right.
I'd say for my practice, that's what I'm seeing more for like a medical condition. I think I have one client with PCOS and one with insulin resistance that has been either considering the medication or, you know, offered the medication by their doctor. But then, of course, I know there's like a whole bunch of people who have no medical conditions and that they're wanting these medications more just for the weight loss effects.
Yeah.
I'm guessing it works quickly. Is that the appeal?
Yeah, I mean, I think it depends on the dose. I'm realizing that, you know, the higher the dose, then the more quickly you're going to have these side effects and more intensely they have these side effects, which include the weight loss. Because basically, I don't know if you guys know this, but Ozempic is the diabetes medication. But in order to get the effects of weight loss, they basically just had to like optimize the effects of the Ozempic by increasing the dose, which is wegovy, for example, is like the weight loss medication version of Ozempic. Okay. And does that make sense?
Yeah. So they're, but then you get all these other side effects because you've upped the dose. Is that what you're saying?
Exactly.
Gotcha. Yeah. It's kind of like the Viagra of weight loss. Do you know what I mean? It's like this in a weird kind of way, right? But like the golden pill that everyone's like, ooh, that's the be all and end all if I want these certain results. And there's no other way you can get it except taking the magic pill. And, you know, our society is become so focused on those quick fix results and whatever situation you're in, you want that magic pill and those quick results. And it's, you know, people are often don't look at all the other side effects that go along with it. Yeah. And, you know, it's unfortunate, but I don't know why we're like that, but it seems to be the trend all across the board with so many different things these days.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And I want to say too, that I don't judge anybody for wanting to take these medications. I think, you know, it makes sense given the society we live in, right? To want to shrink your body. You know, one of the things that I've really tried to focus on with my clients is to make sure that they have informed consent, because, you know, like we've been talking about all these side effects of these medications. I think some people are not like told that these side effects exist, or they're kind of minimized, right?
Right.
So I think, I've been trying to educate my clients who are either on these medications or considering these medications around like, these are the potential side effects so that they can make the best decision for their body and what, they think is best for their health and well-being.
Do you find, and maybe just in a broad understanding of how these work, do you feel people have other options? Or is they're at a point where they've tried everything and there's like, this is the last resort?
Yeah. I mean, lots of people that come to me have tried lots of things in the past. So yeah, I think that now, especially with all the hype around it, it feels like this is the thing I should try that's going to work, quote unquote. Right.
Right. And I suppose there's not really any trendy fad diet that's healthy. They all have their issues. So I think like what you suggested you're doing is you're just helping people. Like you accept that they're going to do it. Let's just help them do it in a healthy or as healthy way as possible. And makes sense that that's how you're approaching it.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, because, we all get to choose how we want to, what medications we want to take or how we want to live our life and how we want to treat our body. So I don't want to take that away from anybody, but I just really feel strongly that it's important to know what you're getting into, right? And with all the information we have available to us.
Yeah, exactly.
I like that. Yeah, no, that's great. Yeah, I've had a client who probably ready to retire. So in her mid 60s or early 60s. And she tried it before and it wasn't the right time, but then she was adamant that she was going to do it again. And she had started and I was helping her with her nutrition and just, meal plan and kind of some guidance around that. And she was, into it. She was like having very bad nausea and vomiting. And so they were kind of scaling back the dose. That's one that stands out in my mind. And another person who is kind of in his mid 50s and just was adamant, like, no, I'm going to do this, on my own terms. I do not want to take that. I have no interest in taking a medication to help me lose weight. I want to do it in my own way with diet and lifestyle choices. So those are two that stand out in the most recent weeks for me. But yeah, I have the same, like a similar approach as you, Rhonda, in terms of it's client-centered care. So what is the person, like what is their goal with their health and their nutrition, and kind of help navigate the side effects and making sure that they are, they understand the symptoms or the side effects of taking a medication like this be. And also the whole idea of, trying to be more gentle on themselves and make peace with food, and sometimes having a dietitian to help you along and kind of help for accountability also can really assist someone and support them in their journey, because they know they have this dedicated time that they get to talk about what's going on for them with somebody who cares and somebody who is knowledgeable about the information. So, a lot of times for many people, they don't have that more than 7 minutes with a primary health provider, like a doctor or nurse practitioner. So it's kind of nice to have that support person, or almost like a coach as you do, like the body image coach and intuitive eating dietitian. And I just love that approach because I think it's important. I mean, I feel like there's just so much noise out there in the social media space, and there's a ton of misinformation, and it's just hard to navigate through it all. So it's great that this is partly why we have this show, just to help people with, just their own nutrition journey and health journey, and, taking good information from people that are leaders in the space and that are guest experts. So, this has been really, really worthwhile because we have not talked about GLP-1 medications or any of the different weight loss medications on this show before. So I really appreciate that you were open to discussing it and being honest about, like you're not an expert in it. You do have clients and you help them navigate, but that's great. Like I really wanted to kind of pick your brain around that and to see, what your approach is. And I really appreciate it.
Thank you so much. No, it's been great talking with you guys. And I'm glad to have these conversations because I think it is very challenging to navigate in this time right now with all the noise around it. So I just think that the more we can talk about it and get different perspectives, I feel like will help people more.
Yeah, I think the sort of positive body image, the focus on that is slowly increasing presence-wise in social media and whatnot. I mean, there's so much negativity around how people look, but I think that's starting to change just with some of the posts I've seen. And yeah, it's good. It'd be nice maybe 10 years from now that's kind of the norm. Mm-hmm. Just all however you guys say it, like all bodies are good or all
health at every size.
That's what I'm trying to say. Thank you. There we go. That, yeah. So I mean, that's hopefully someday will be the norm. So yeah, we do have another question for you, Rhonda, that we like to just pick dietitians' brains because people are curious about dietitians and what they eat. It's not always vegetables and stuff like that. So we ask a question of everyone that comes on the show, and that's if you go to a potluck dinner or party or whatever, what would you bring?
I love this question.
Oh, good.
I would bring my favorite chocolate chip cookies, like warm at the
I love it.
That's what I would bring.
That is awesome.
It. Oh,
and are they unique? Are they,
no,
do you make them?
I would make them extra chocolatey with like lots of chocolate chips.
Perfect.
Yeah, that's the kind I like. Yeah. Yes, dietitians eat chocolate. Yes. Just so everybody knows. Oh, yeah. I have lots of chocolate and ice cream too.
Yeah.
Exactly. Chocolate is really good for your mental health, I find.
Yeah. Oh, that sounds delicious. So you make them from scratch?
Yeah, I do.
Love it.
Oh, that sounds so delicious. And they're kind of crunchy or chewy?
They're soft. Like I like them when they're, freshly baked. But they're more on the softer side.
Oh,
that's one of those things where people go through the potluck lineup and they always put one of those in their plate first because they're afraid they won't be there later.
That's right.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I better get one of these now or they're not going to be there.
That is so awesome. You're right. You know what? That is like, we've asked so many guests about what they would bring in a potluck. No one has ever said chocolate chip cookies. Like that is like one of those standard, like everyone loves them. Like everyone. I don't know anyone who doesn't love a chocolate chip cookie.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. Well, they assume everyone else is going to bring them, so no one brings them, and then you end up with no chocolate chip cookies and a bunch of bean salads.
Right.
So,
that's right.
Yeah, no, that's perfect.
That's hilarious. Oh, this is great. Well, thank you so much, Rhonda. And so if people want to check your website out, we can put it in the show notes, or is there any other like social media handles or where people can find you?
Yeah, my website is www.rhondakrick.com. I actually have a free download there, 10 Steps to Stop Dieting for anybody who's interested. And then on social media, I have my Instagram at Rhonda Krick RD.
Oh,
awesome.
Perfect. Okay. And it's Krick with a K.
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Krick.
Correct.
Excellent. Excellent. Oh, that's good. So yeah, we'll have your your freebie or the downloadable 10 Steps to Stop Dieting in the show notes so that people can see what that's all about. Yeah. And help with that. That's awesome. I love it. That's a great, I feel like, we've talked a lot about this on the show before, but so many women, especially, basically, decades of dieting since they were 16 or now 13, like it's just crazy. And it's like, how many diets in a year? And then times the decades, like if you're 60, that's going to be a lot of diets,
Absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's just so punitive and can be so negative on your mindset and just, it's just not healthy, like it's just not a healthy way to live your day-to-day life, is hating your body and measuring every ounce of food that goes in your mouth. Like there's so many other things to do with your time and your mental energy instead of trying to control your body shape and size.
I couldn't agree with you more.
Oh, good. Well, thank you so much again. And we really appreciate that you took your time to join us today, all the way from
Los
Angeles, California.
Wow.
Sunny California. That's awesome. Thank you so much, Rhonda.
Thank you.
Thanks, Rhonda. Take care.
Thanks.
Wow, that was a great interview, eh?
Yeah. I didn't really know much about Ozempic and the whole weight loss medication or pills or whatever we're calling them. And I kind of had a bit of a tainted view from what I'd read through social media and what I'd heard through people. And part of that is correct, but I like her approach. It's like, people are going to take these. We might as well help them do it right. And I think that's the sort of important message is like, yeah, they work. But there's a certain way you got to do it, and it's good to do it with someone who knows kind of how to walk you through it and make sure you're not going to set yourself up for health issues in the future.
Yeah. Yeah. I like how she said it's not black or white. There's nuances with everything, right?
Mm-hmm.
And depends on the person. And, there are other ways to look at markers for health and set your goals around, like how are you sleeping? What's your energy like? Maybe you're having less cravings. Like those might be better indicators for your health rather than looking at the scale. And we've talked about this so many times on different episodes. And I mean, if people are going to be taking a weight loss medication, it is good to have a partner in your healthcare decisions and someone to help you along the way, to help with accountability and just with coaching you on what you're working on week to week.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. The other benefit of that too is these things are available sort of to the public, and a lot of people are just going to say, oh, hey, there's this pill I can take and lose weight and great, I'm going to go do it. But they might not realize kind of some of the side effects that are associated with that. And so it's kind of like saying, oh, I'm going to go out and fly a plane. That looks really fun. And, not going through the steps of learning how to fly the plane and doing it, safely and responsibly. So yeah, it's kind of like my point before about just, it's good that she's helping people find their way through this.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that was a really good episode, and I'm sure we'll revisit this topic in the future. And I really am thankful that Rhonda Krick had spent her time with us to delve into more of these controversial topics.
Absolutely. Yeah, thanks again, Rhonda. So that's it for this week. If you want more information on Rhonda and what she's doing, you can check out her website. We will put a link to that in the show notes. You can also check out our website. It's mywifethedietitian.com. You can join our newsletter while you're there. It's a weekly newsletter we do for free. It has lots of great tips and recipes and updates on all sorts of things. You can send us an email too if you have questions about health, food, diets, anything that's, you got on your mind. Let us know. We'd love to turn it into an episode. You can also find us on social media. We're on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. Feel free to reach out to us there as well. Don't forget to rate and review the show. That's super helpful. Helps other people find the show, and we like it too. And share with your friends. Share with your family. Share with strangers. It's good to share the show. It helps other people get on board with being healthy, which is what we're all about. So share away. We will be back on Wednesday with Nutrition Nuggets, our midweek mini episode. So until then, have a great week, everyone. Thanks for joining us today on My Wife the Dietitian. If you like what you heard, don't be shy. Leave us a comment or review, and be sure to share our podcast with your friends. If you'd like to hear more, hit that subscribe button. You can also follow us on our social media pages for updates, episode trailers, and other odds and ends. For more info and links on what we discussed on today's episode, check the show notes. We'll be back next week with another informative and fun-filled episode.